session on the hypothesis formulation. And I wish that we will have a very interactive kind of a session, and let it not turn out to be a monologue, but a dialogue. And we will also actively participate in the deliberations and discussion of this today's session on hypothesis formulation. Because normally the online sessions do, end up in one-way kind of a traffic. It ends up as a monologue, but that doesn't really, keep us number one on twos. And number two is that it's pretty difficult to then, try to understand the things properly, understand until we have an interaction on the other side as well. And as when there are any kind of queries or questions, clarifications to be sought, you are very much most welcome to seek them in between. And before I turn out or move with the session, which is on the research and development of hypothesis formulation, I would first of all make it clear that why I have chosen this hypothesis formulation, what's the need for talking about on hypothesis formulation. When we know that we have got tens of social media platforms available with us, which can help us in the formulation of hypothesis. But still then, we require to have a proper understanding of the hypothesis formulation, that how hypotheses are formulated and what are the important components of hypothesis, what are the various criterions or characteristics of good hypothesis. And then we will have some scenarios also. We will discuss about hypothesis formulation in practice, and each one of you can take part in that exercise towards the end of the session. The first and foremost thing that why we should go for this hypothesis formulation. It's out of my own experience, because being the dean of the school, or then also as an evaluator of thesis coming to me from different parts of the country, I could see that the scholars do require a lot of understanding of how the hypotheses are formulated. What are the important ingredients that are involved? What should a researcher keep in mind while formulating the hypothesis? That was something that drove my mind towards this kind of a session. And today also I am with you only to discuss about it, so that we are well versed with how the hypotheses are formulated, and how we can in fact develop that understanding of hypothesis formulation. Other than that, we know that research is not now confined to the universities alone, but it has gone down to the colleges as well. Colleges are now equally responsible for conducting research, and especially research which is socially relevant kind of a research. And since hypothesis formulates a very basis of that kind of a research, and it is one of the important ingredients of your research, therefore focusing on it. For example, on some solid grounds. Number one, scholars were not, I could see, this is my observation, this is what I have personally felt and found it, rather than being simply an observation, that scholars are not able to maintain a kind of a coherence amongst the various important components of research, starting from research title, the research questions, the objectives, the hypothesis, and the use of relevant tools and techniques. Therefore, the scholars are not in a proper frame of mind, or in a proper understand. They don't have a proper understanding of how hypothesis could be formulated, and why it is a must that there shall be a sequence, a coherence followed by the researchers when it comes to the various components of research that we conduct. As it stated, the first and foremost is your research title. How a research title gives birth to various kinds of research questions, research objectives, then hypothesis, and how hypothesis gives birth to various tools and techniques can be employed in order to arrive at meaningful findings. That has been one of the important, I can say, attractions for me to deliberate upon and discuss the hypothesis formulation. And as far as, since I said that we would wish to have this a kind of a dialogue rather than a monologue, so naturally I would surely ask some questions from you, seek some inputs from you, then we will proceed on. The first thing is that what is hypothesis? What is hypothesis? And may I seek your inputs on it? Number, what is hypothesis? Anybody who would like to respond to this?
He
Yes,
already job मध्ये दिया म्हणते जॉबला सिव्हिल इंजिनिअरिंग झाली इंजिनिअरिंग झालंय नाही झालं महिला माहिती का तुला
there is a noise coming from your end instead of responding to my point. I am saying that what is hypothesis? How will you define hypothesis? What is hypothesis?
It is testable statement.
Yes. We see that it is a testable statement. Yes. What else? What else is it? Testable statement, very well said. Anybody else has got any other idea about it? Yes? No other inputs? Only one person would say that these are the testable.
Hello, Ankit sir.
Are the slides available? Are they visible, please?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay. Okay, the very first question was related to the hypothesis. And we also say that these are statements, assumptions, where we use the word, hypothesis. And but the point is that how are hypotheses formulated? What are the basis for hypothesis formulation? Can we assume about things without knowing about them? Is that possible? Can an assumption be made without we having a proper understanding of that? Is that possible? Any idea? Are you hearing me well? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My point was that if we have got the hypothesis testable statements or assumptions or predictions, how do we make those assumptions? Can the assumptions be made just, or there are some basis for assumptions?
We should know prior understanding of any subject, then we
Very
can.
good. We should have a prior information of the subject that we are discussing or that we are working on. So naturally, prior understanding of it is a must. Then do we need to have the null hypothesis for all different types of research? Null hypothesis. Do we need to have null hypothesis for all different types of research? Any idea about it, please?
मला लॅपटॉप तरी अवेलेबल नाहीये
मग
सर.
हे माझं FDP आता चालू आहे म्हणजे माझे स्किल चालू आहे. माझे स्वतःचे स्वयंचे कोर्सेस दाखवतो तुला मी किती कम्प्लीट
तर मी स्वयंचे कोर्सेस करते, टाइमिंग वर करते. माझे 3 सर्टिफिकेट पण मी ज्या 3 एक्झामला भरले ते 3 मी पास केले.
आता हे शिकायला मी तर माझा जॉब सोडला का 8 तास तर मी काम करतो.
Hello, I'm sorry again, there was some technical snag.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes, sir.
audible.
Now, there was a problem in between. Is it?
Yes, sir.
I was
Now,
not audible to you, no?
yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, there is some technical snag. I'm unable to share the PPTs, in fact. Issue being that there is some internet connectivity problem or something of that sort, but still then,
Sir,
I'll
now
try to do.
now you try once again to share PPT. I have changed the setting. Multiple participants can share now.
Yeah, issue is basically with the Zoom. It is appropriate to have a Google Meet. Google Meet works well within 100, na? But
Huh.
there's always a problem with the Zoom. It's always a problem with the Zoom. But anyways, I'll just try to see that if we got the,
Okay.
I will be sharing. Not really.
Recording in progress.
Going work with this Zoom, but anyways, proceed on with this. Now, if we just go by one or two definitions of the hypothesis as such, we know that one of the essential hypotheses that given by Kerlinger and Lee, that it is a conjectural statement about relationship between two or more variables. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, there is something happening with the again, there is an issue. Is it audible right now? Maybe I'm not able to share the presentation of these PPTs with you
Yes, sir.
right
Yes,
now.
sir.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, I was talking about the definition that we can have. For example, one of the definitions that was given by Kerlinger is talking about the hypothesis as one of the conjectural statements about the relationship between two or more variables that can be tested empirically, as was rightly said by one of the participants that it's a testable statement. So what is the key idea in this definition is that the hypothesis is conjectural. You assume about the things, you assume about the phenomena, then there are variables and they are empirically tested. They can be tested. We have to have a data. We have to put that data to a rigorous, what is called analysis. We have to make use of relevant tools and techniques so that we draw some inferences from what exactly the data is revealing. That's why we say that it follows this kind of a mechanism. Then again, we see that it is a must that we should have the presentations, but I am only audible to you. Is it? There are no PPTs being seen you by you. Hello? Hello? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Audible
Hello,
to
yes,
you
sir.
there, but
Yes,
presentations
sir.
are not visible. Is it visible now? Are PPTs visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Fine,
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that is what I wanted. Fine. Now, there we talked about one of the definitions that was given by Kerlinger. He talks about conjectural, variable-based, and empirically testable. Then there are so many definitions that have been given by different authors regarding what hypothesis is all about. For instance, some saying that hypothesis is basically to do with it is the prediction that the researcher makes about the expected relationships among variables. A prediction. But an important point is that can predictions be made without having some basis? How do we make the predictions? Can you just answer me this question? How do we normally make these assumptions? Do we have some basis for the assumptions to be made by us? Any idea? We say that we cannot have assumptions unless and until there are some bases. What are the bases? We have a literature. We have empirical studies that become the basis for the predictions. So predictions cannot be just made without having an understanding of. For example, if we say that two variables are related to each other, how do we say? There is a prior research that has indicated the relationship between the variables. So as such, we cannot just assume about the relationships unless and until there is a solid ground behind. Theories. And at times we have to go by the theories that help us also to basically talk about the relationships. Also, we may look at, for example, the hypothesis, but also look at the types of research that we have. We have an explanatory kind of a research, a deductive research, a mono method, or a cross-sectional. Now, what does that actually mean? Research can be classified into any of these. The kind of research that we do along several independent dimensions that once a single study is usually. For example, it could be an explanatory kind of a study, it could be a deductive kind of a study, it could be a mono method, or it could be a cross-sectional study. Now, what do these different terminologies indicate? When it comes to explanatory kind of a research, it clarifies an ambiguous or poorly understood exploratory, I beg your pardon, it's exploratory. So, poorly understood problem, flexible and often qualitative. What does that mean? That suppose you don't know about the phenomena, why this is happening, what could be the possible reasons for it? Everybody will have a kind of a hunch. By a hunch, you will go ahead that this could be the reason, that could be the reason. For example, we take an example of the general enrollment ratio in college or the universities. Suppose in my own place, we have a strong dearth of students. Students do not join the programs, the traditional programs. What could be the possible reasons? GER on the whole, if we take case of India, it is just 28%, something around 28%, 28.4%. That means the age group of 18 to 23 of that who can join college and universities, only 28% join. So out of 100, it is almost 72% of the students who are otherwise eligible for higher education do not join higher education. Now, exploratory would mean that we try to dig deep into understanding that why students are not joining the colleges, why they are not joining the universities, why they did not take up the various programs for study purposes. What could be the possible reasons for it? So you are exploring the possibilities of various things that you have in your mind. Exploratory study. Nothing final is given. Then we have a descriptive kind of a study, which portrays an accurate profile of persons, events, or distribution, requires a clear picture of the phenomenon before data collection. So you know about the things well. You're describing only. Say, for example, in a department, there are 30 girls and 25 boys. 17 are urban, say 23 or something around that. They are non-urban, they are rural. It is a description simply. Likewise, you can portray a picture of some are from EW category, economically weaker section, some are from middle class, some are from upper class. Describing what is the class of data available with me, and I then accordingly describe it. Then there is explanatory tree, explaining why this is happening or why there's. Suppose a same thing, if we take the case of why the student enrollment is coming down drastically, we don't have as much as it should have been because China is enjoying 50% plus, America is enjoying 88% plus GER. Why it is so down, so low in our case? What could be the possible reasons? What leads to this? For example, we may dig deep into understanding that a good number of people have died, for example, due to COVID. And then the reason is the how is it related is that if a breadwinner is lost, it means that the responsibilities of the eldest ones or the elder one. they have to earn for the family. They have to earn the livelihood for the family. So that could be one of the explanations. Another explanation could be that students do go to foreign countries. They don't prefer to stay back. Whatever would be the reason. For example, curriculum is not up to the mark. They may say that our curriculum it does not give us any market, or it does not give any jobs. It's not market driven. It's not of our liking. So there could be any kind of a reason that could lead to, for example, lower general enrollment ratio. So the point basically trying to convey is that when it comes to exploratory, you are digging deep into understanding the reasons behind. Then explanatory, you are just trying to come up with the cause and effect. This could be the cause. Students do not join because they don't find, some professional or relevant or market-driven courses in the universities or in the colleges. So they prefer foreign universities. Then we have evaluative kind of a study, which does assess the effectiveness of a program, policy, or intervention against defined criteria. So if you have to look at a study, that could be a study which is evaluative in the nature. Evaluative in the sense you just try to evaluate this kind of program, suppose NEP program, which is going on. You would like to make an assessment of how it went on, how were the resource persons, how did they interact with the students on different parameters. You will try to judge this particular program, and it may be considered as an evaluative kind of a research. Then again, if we talk about the types of research, we have another explanation that is deductive, inductive, and objective kind of a research. Now, with a deductive kind of a research, here the hypothesis comes first. You are deducting, so you they are first. Something has been done already in the past. Some theories are there. They are witnessed it. They are very helpful to you to start coming up with the hypothesis. So you have already the theories available, you have already the data available, you have already the empirical studies conducted on the subject of your inquiry. Therefore, they are already there. They help you out. Data are collected to testing, and then you collect the data to test what has been already tested. It moves from the general to the particular. So you move from one end to another end. Then we have inductive kind of a research. It means that data are collected first. Theory is built from the patterns observed, moves from the particular to the general. So you have a particular understanding of the things. Say, for example, we say that we have taken a pilot study. We have found that students do not join colleges because they find that the programs offered by the college are outdated. They are redundant. There is no market for them. Now you apply it to the rest of the universities and colleges as well. What kinds of posts are being offered? And therefore, if students are not turning up, it could be because of this reason. So you're generalizing it. Likewise, there is objective. It moves iteratively between data and theory. Now again, there are deficiencies in deductive kind of a research. There are deficiencies in inductive kind of a research. In order to do away with those deficiencies, you have another way of doing research that's called objective research, while a researcher does collect the data, but alongside that, he is also making personal business to the concerned universities or concerned offices or the concerned sample organizations to dig deep into understanding that what has been revealed by the numerical data, by the data, is it substantiated by a research or not, theory or not? And how do you do it? You go personally. So you are making observations because there are different ways of conducting research. For example, if we do a research which is again a research which is basically conducted by a researcher which is based on both the things, data collection, and subsequently also you're trying to have the information about the phenomena of your own, because there are three ways doing it. One is that the data is available, but your thinking is that it is only objective data is available. The reality is objective in nature. That means there is no other way out but to hand over questionnaires to the participants. We call this an objective ways of conducting research, which is only measurable. You can only measure. How would you measure? You will have to seek inputs from the people working in that particular organization. So you know about the phenomena by giving questions to those questionnaires to those who are working in that particular organization. And you believe that data flow collected is measurable, the information available is measurable. Second way is that you may consider that data is available, but we cannot measure the phenomena that we have taken into consideration. For example, I may give an example of culture. Normally, we say that culture is a kind of a phenomenon which can only be observed. You have to observe. But some say that even it is objective, it can be measured. Now, if it is objective and can be measured, you have a question in your hand, you hand it over to the students in order to know the kind of culture, the type of culture that's prevalent. The other way around is that you believe that culture is in existence, but it cannot be measured. You may start doing what is called this interpretive. You interpret it. You say that it can be only interpreted. I cannot do beyond that. You can interpret the culture rather than you can, capture it through a question. So, second important thing is that culture is interpretable. It can be interpreted. We can interpret it only. Then the third one is the third one is that there is a limitation. If you conduct research by only getting the data, that is limited. That has limitation. So it is advisable that not only data be collected, but a person should make a personal visit to the place where he wants to conduct the research. So the one aspect is that research can be measured. The other one is that it can be interpreted as well. So what a researcher does? Researcher does go personally hand over the questionnaires to the participants. But alongside that, he pays visit and he seeks information and he jots it down, he points it down. So he is using a mixed methods in order to ascertain the about the data, about the study or about the phenomenon. That's very important. Again, we have classification by time horizon. One way is people going and handing over the question and seeking information from the respondents. You do a cross-sectional kind of a research. Then there is a longitudinal research. For example, in many cases, because of mixed method, you may resort to the longitudinal studies, wherein you have to hand over the questionnaires to the participants, and then afterwards you go again. It's not a one-time affair. The long-term study is not a one-time affair. Rather, it's an affair that deals with discussing about the things time and again. So you go again and again, you seek proper information from the concerned so that you have some meaningful, you can say, conclusions. You draw some meaningful conclusions of that. That's called the longitudinal kind of a study you do. And we normally call it as mixed methods. Then, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Then we may have a basic kind of a research. We call that as orthogonal. Orthogonal distinction, basic versus applied. Basic, pure research, which extends the knowledge base with no immediate application in view. You don't have anything in mind. You go on exploring something. That is required by people after, say, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. A number of theories that were developed long ago in 60s and 50s and 30s and 40s, they are being made use of nowadays. Somebody came up with those particular theories and they had their own interpretation of the phenomena, but it did not go waste. It is being used. Nowadays, we use it very extensively. Then we have applied research. Address a specific practical problem, usually for a particular organization or a context. Normally, you will find, for example, consultants. What do the consultants do? Consultant's job is diagnose a problem, provide solution to it. For example, a particular university finds that students do not come to the university in bulk. Very less students come. What could be the possible reasons? Now, a consultant, after hearing the concerned administrators, academic administrators, draws the proper plan as to how we can have more and more students in the campus. Now, he cannot just draw a plan without knowing what is exactly happening. If he comes to know that these are the reasons, that's why students do not join the universities, then university might fix those problems, might fix those issues. And therefore, it's an applied kind of research. Applied in the sense that what the respondents are feeling about the phenomena, they feel about it and they get benefited also because there is a course correction being done by the administrator, by the authorities. Now, have you heard about this research onion? Any idea about this research onion? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Yes,
are
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Fine, fine.
Okay.
So tell me something about this research onion. Have you heard about research onion? Any idea about it? Again, not hearing me. Are you hearing me? Are you not hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, have you heard about this research onion?
Sir.
Research onion, it basically has got some 8 layers. It was given by Saunders, Lewis, and Thornhill long ago. And it does talk about that how a researcher should actually proceed on with the research. A very important for any kind of a research that we conduct. So it showcases how a researcher should actually conduct his research. From, for example, research philosophy, then again, there is a research approach, there is a research choice, there is a research strategy, then time horizon, and ultimately the techniques. So when it comes to the research onion, it becomes a very strong, I mean, um, backbone for a researcher to proceed on with in order to conduct a research on scientific basis. The first and foremost is the research philosophy, very vital. And this particularly, this research philosophy actually gives also birth to what we say the various, approaches like we talk about what approach we are supposed to follow. Therefore, it does tell us something about, say, for example, um, the philosophy. Should we go for a positivism, pragmatism, or any other philosophy be adopted by us? Should we go for an inductive kind of a research or a deductive kind of a research or an objective kind of a research? Now, these again 3 important phenomena which are a must for a researcher to go ahead with the research. So, for example, objective research is that research, as I said, which is concerned with both which is a mixed method kind of a research. Inductive research is the research which is theory development. So you are developing a theory. Deductive is concerned that there is already data available, or there are theories available. There is empirical study or empirical studies are available that help a researcher to come up with a particular design to accordingly, follow it. Then we have the research choice. research, which particular methodology, which research choices to be adopted by a researcher. Then it goes down to an inner layer where we are supposed to follow a particular research strategy. And that gives birth to time horizon. Should we do a cross-sectional kind of a study, or we should go for a longitudinal kind of a study? And ultimately, we boil down onto what is called data collection, how to collect the data. So my point basically is, if you are if you are, hearing me well. Are you hearing me well?
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible to you? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just
Yes, sir.
one, because I'm just now using actually the mobile because of the issues that I'm facing in the university. This internet, I don't know the reasons what has happened, and as a result, it does create a problem for me. Now again, I am back to
Uh,
I am back to the just a minute. Yeah. Mhm.
This is basically the philosophy. Yes, look at this when it comes to positivism and are the slides available on screen?
No, sir.
No, sir.
They're
No.
not. Are they now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Fine. So look at this, very simple, that when it comes to philosophy, positivism especially, that raise a single external and mind independent objectives based technology. It favors a highly structured and replicable methodology and researcher independence from what is being researched. Positivism is one important way of conducting research where you feel and where you perceive that the reality is available, the nature of reality, and it is measurable as well. You can measure it. You can measure it as well. While pragmatism indicates that you have to keep in mind both the things. You can collect the data, and but you cannot only bank upon that particular data. You will have to have you have to interpret it as well. You have to move beyond a simply collection of data. In order to understand and gauge the phenomena properly, the approach has to be that I should resort to understanding how things are happening actually. I give an example to you. For example, culture. We take the case of culture, and we say that culture is something which is existence and which can be measured. So if a researcher takes a view that culture is in existence and it is measurable through a questionnaire, he takes a positivist kind of a stance. Likewise, we can have a researcher who would say that research culture is not visible. It can be only interpreted. It can be only interpreted. So once you say that it can be interpreted, it means that your observations are required. You need to be there personally present to gauge how things are happening. We call that as actually interpretation of the phenomena. So when there is an interpretation of the phenomena, you resort to qualitative kind of a research, resort to a qualitative research. Then the third and important aspect is pragmatism. Why do you say that? Both are important. You start with the research questions, you adopt a particular philosophy, you got a questionnaire with you, and you do a quantitative kind of analysis, but you go beyond it. You say that the phenomena is both measurable as well as interpretable. Measurable means positivist approach. You have a questionnaire. Then interpretation would mean that we require to also observe the phenomenon. So once you adopt both the data collection technique as well as interpretation of it, you resort to what is called the mixed methods. And today's it is being very highly recommended to go for the mixed methods research. Then again, basis of hypothesis can never be arbitrary. There has to be the basis for it. There could be theory, for example, that can help us. We can have a prior literature that can help us. Your observations or analogy all will form the basis for conducting a kind of a research that you want to conduct. Now look at this. Where hypotheses sit in the research process? A useful way to see the sequence. Now, first and foremost is that you go for a research problem, area of interest. You raise research questions. You have a hypothesis. You have operationalization of the variables that you have already taken up for research. For example, there is a possibility that a researcher may follow a previous path. Suppose somebody has defined job satisfaction. You accordingly follow somebody's path. Job satisfaction means this, or you will have your own working definition for the construct. Then data collection and analysis. After all this is done, you go ahead with the data collection and analysis. How to collect the data and what questionnaires should you use, how to collect the data, and how to then accordingly interpret it and analyze it. Then acceptance, rejection, or refinement of the hypothesis. The last thing is that the already given hypothesis would be either accepted by you, or it would be rejected by you, or there can be a refinement of the hypothesis. No, this is possible, that is possible. So that again is a discretion of the scholar concept. An important thing that we should bear in mind is that how do we say that the hypothesis is really something very wonderful? It is very accurate. It is correct. There are some important criterions for it. There are some characteristics of the sound hypothesis. Number one is that it is testable and it is falsifiable. There must be a conceivable observation that would count against it. Now, what does it actually mean? It actually means that the phenomena is testable and also it is falsifiable as well. For example, increases social media engagement negatively impacts employee productivity. We say that increases social media engagement. So if a person is very strongly using or making use of social media, possibility is that his productivity might come down. Is that correct? Are we right in saying that if a person is making an extensive use of social media, and what is going to happen is that his productivity would come down? Is that possible or something different is possible? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
My question is that if we say that, for example, social media use, somebody is making a social media use, is it going to impact his productivity or her productivity? And can it be also false? Are you hearing me well?
Yes, sir.
So my question is very simple. Does social media use employee productivity? Does it really? Your answer would be was. What would be your answer to this question? Yes, please. No response to this? Anybody
Yes,
who would like to share his thoughts? Yes, please.
yes, sir. Sometimes the social media is responsible.
But yes, what is falsifiability? It means that when you come up with a hypothesis, there are both possibilities. A hypothesis can be accepted, it can be rejected as well. So the way you are portraying or framing a hypothesis, always keep this in mind that it has both options. It can be accepted or it can be rejected. We never say that hypothesis can be approved. So what does that again now mean? Falsifiability. That what we proposed may not necessarily be correct, may not be necessarily be accepted. So we say that social media use negatively influences or affects or impacts the productivity. It means all those who make use of social media, they will not be able to reap benefits of it in the sense that productivity would be low. General phenomena is like that. But then we also know with the help of social media, employees can learn some new tactics, new approach of doing their work. So by doing so, they will be able to enhance the productivity. So while on one side they will be using social media, but on the other side they will be in a position to enhance their productivity as well. So many times have we heard about people cracking, boys cracking, girls cracking very competitive exams without joining any formal coaching center. How was that possible? They simply narrate that it was the use of YouTube, blah, 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 that helped us to learn a lot and that helped saved our time and we were able to concentrate much. And that was the reason also that we could qualify the exams. So it means that social media use is not necessarily going to hamper the productivity. In certain cases, it can in fact enhance the productivity of the person, and a person can in fact qualify a very competitive exam, which the students, even after joining the formal education system or a coaching center, I beg your pardon, were not able to qualify to compete with. Then again, we talk about clear and specific ambiguities. Specific hypothesis. Again, we say that variables and the expected relationships are unambiguous. There should not be any kind of ambiguity. For example, bad leadership affects employee behavior. Look at this. The bad leadership is subject to interpretation. What does bad leadership mean? It's not known. What does employee behavior mean? It's not known. So we say that bad leadership actually would mean a despotic leadership, which negatively influences the employee. Job satisfaction is the employee behavior. So if we use the word employee behaviors specifically, it would mean that your hypothesis is very much vague, is vague, ambiguous. We don't know what does employee behavior here mean. Also, bad leadership. We don't know what does bad leadership mean. So you qualify it. You use the word despotic leadership. Likewise, operationalizable. Each variable can in principle be measured or manipulated, consistent with knowledge and parsimonious. The simplest statement consistent with the evidence and theory avoids unnecessary complexity. We never want and should never consider a hypothesis to be, a very complex one. Always be very straightforward while formulating the hypothesis. Workplace flexibility positively affects employees' satisfaction is absolutely simple, but it's also very impactful as well. Then we have different kinds of hypotheses as well. We see null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, and we know that when it comes to null hypothesis, it states there is no relationship, no difference, or no effect. It's a statement which is subjected to statistical testing and is rejected or not rejected. Never proven. We say accepted, rejected, but never use the word proven. And it cannot be the case. Proven simply means, can you tell me that why proven is not to be there? Anybody who would love to share his views on why there should not be what is called the proven, why there should be only accepted or rejected? Anyone who would like to share his thoughts on? Yes, please. I am saying that we should not make a use of proved or unproved, proven or unproven. Why? Nobody wants to respond? Are you here there only? Hearing me, please? Are you hearing me well? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
So I am asking a very simple question. I am saying that why should not we use the word proven? You should respond to this question. You are not sharing anything, any ideas from your end. You can write them down also in case you have. Proven makes the whole process as biased. It makes the process biased. That, say, for example, if say that it is proven, it proven means that what I had actually assumed that has proven correct, so I'm correct. So it means that it shows or it gives a tinge of that biasness on the part of the researcher. While a researcher has to be absolutely third party, there shall not be any connection between him and the research as such. The only thing that he does is to collect data, useful tools and techniques on that, and whatever the result. And then those particular results have to be properly defended by a scholar by making use of the latest literature, the contemporary research on the issue. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
You are very silent for it. Then we may have directional or non-directional research. Oh, there is a problem. Then again, there are simple hypotheses or the complex ones. We may not discuss much them. Now we'll discuss something about the various components of the hypothesis. the first and foremost is the sample. No quantitative research can be without the sample. No research, no quantitative research can be without the sample. Sample is a must. Then also we have a variable. Very important in our research is the, a variable. One thing that I would like to suggest is that that when it comes to the researchers, your scholars, choosing the topic, choosing the constructs, always avoid, always guide them or a scholar can make use of. He can be well versed with various different, I can say, combinations of the topics. Some naturally independent, dependent. You may have, for example, the variables which are mediating, moderating. So you should always encourage your scholars to make use of more than 3, 4, 5 variables in this studies. And plus this, it will help them to come up with some relevant or good what is called the research papers as well, if they are actually taking up more than 5, 6 variables at a time. Encourage them for it. Then YouTube is available. Then there are softwares available. Again, very I can say at a very cheap price, or even you have got free access to some softwares as well. So all that can pave the way for a scholar to use or to have more than 4 or 5 variables, and also to make use of the various softwares that are available. And in universities also, colleges also nowadays, they also subscribe to various kinds of softwares. So that again is a great thing for the scholars to take benefit of. And then the times that we did our PhD, I do remember, even though I did it from Delhi University, but I had to move from one place to another place to just get the data properly analyzed, use of tools and techniques, even though in Delhi University. And then it was very difficult to interpret the results as well. Today you have got many things given by softwares itself. They interpret the things as well. You have to make some here and there changes. So the point is basically, though I'm not encouraging that you should always fall back on these social media platforms to conducting your research. You should actually help yourself in understanding the things well. And the point basically that I'm trying to convey to you is that we should encourage scholars to make use of more than 2 variables. Please do let me know that whether the slides are available on the, and could you see the movement of the slides as well? Are you witnessing the movement in the slides as well? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm very much audible, because I'm just kind of confused with the way the internet is working here. I don't know the reasons for it. But still, then I'm always there to ask my participants that whether they are hearing me well, and do they also have a look on the the PPTs as well. Now I'm asking you, and that's to do with the various components of hypothesis. We talked about the variables, then we talk about the, and then look at this. What are these various, what is called the variables? The predictor variable means the independent variable. Dependent variable means the variable that you are actually trying to know about with the help of the independent variable. Mediating or intervening variables, moderating variables, control variable, extraneous, and quantitative and qualitative variables. So there are different types of variables that are being used and should be used by the researchers in the research. and especially when it comes to the mediating, moderating variable, or likewise a control variable. In certain cases, extraneous variables are being used and should be used by the scholars. Now, for example, I will just detail out the mediating variable. Mediating variable is basically concerned with forging a relationship between variable X and Y. That's independent dependent variable. So if there is any kind of a relationship existing between independent and dependent variable, one reason could be because of the mediating variable, because mediating variable plays a very important role in that. Likewise, what are the mediating variables doing? They are showing how and why independent variable is related to the dependent variable. Then likewise, we have a moderating variable. Moderating variable has to do with increasing, or we can say strengthening, or we can say weakening the relationships. There are variables, they do not strengthen, rather than they weaken the relationship. So we have different types of relationship possible through moderators. Likewise, there is a control variable. Control variable is the variable which we have to take into account while we are formulating the hypothesis and look at it, that which particular variables can exist as control variables. And what does that mean? Variables which have otherwise got an impact on the relationship between two variables, they are controlled ahead of time. They are controlled ahead of time. For example, we take the size of a firm, size of a company. A size of a company would vary. Some companies may have 500 employees, some might have 1,000 plus, some might have 3,000, some might have 5,000. How is it possible to draw a comparison amongst these different companies given their size? A company which is with a size of 500, a company which is with a size of 5,000, how they are comparable to each other? They are not. Therefore, control variable means that you have to keep in mind those particular variables which can exert a kind of a pressure or on the relationship between the variables. You control for them. Likewise, we have extraneous variables. These are those kinds of variables which a researcher does not take into account, but they have got an impact. They have got an impact. I always give an example of the COVID-19. You better know it that COVID-19, nobody would dream of that point in time that we'll be back to offices, we'll go to back colleges and universities, we'll be alive first of all, and things will turn so topsy-turvy ultimately after the COVID was over in a way. Now, we know that the exams were conducted online, classes were conducted online, and in fact, exams were conducted also online. Now we know that there might have been some students getting very good grades. They got good grades because of several reasons. Because it could be because of several reasons. It could be because of the parents they have. They have, say, for example, educated parents. They could help them out. That was possible. Likewise, they had internet facilities. They had smartphones, all providing or being pivotal in a student getting good grades. In comparison to this, there was a student who had no internet facility or there was no smartphone available to him, blah, blah, blah. How is it possible that he would be equated with a student who had all these facilities at his disposal? So therefore, extraneous variables are actually those particular variables which may be there present, but they have to be kept at bay only because they will otherwise influence the results of the independent and dependent variable. That's why they have to be kept at bay. Now, independent, dependent variables, we may discuss a little bit about mediating variables so that we can do some exercises also towards the end of the session. Now look at this aspect. What is mediator? A theoretical variable that researcher uses to explain the causal connection between independent and dependent variable. Oh, this particular variable was responsible for it. It indicates why or how the independent variable affects the dependent variable. Therefore, a mediator explains the mechanism or process through which an independent variable influences a dependent variable. It shows that. It shows both. It can show a relationship is possible because it acts as a mediator. And the other one is that process through which the independent variable influences a dependent variable. How does it actually influence the dependent variable? Then there are some conditions given by Barron and Kenny. Have you heard about the 4 conditions given by Barron and Kenny on the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable? Have you heard about it? Anybody who has heard about it? You seem not to be interested in sharing. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Not interested in sharing. Now, there are 4 conditions that have been given by Barron and Kenny, but those 4 conditions are considered to be futile now. Zhou, Leach, and Chen have come up with some different proposal to testing the mediation and also moves beyond the traditional Barron and Kenny approach, addressing its limitations. Zhou et al. Emphasizes that mediation exists when the indirect effect xy and xm of y is significant, regardless of whether there is a direct effect or total effect. Now there is a different line of thinking taken by Zhou, Lynch, and Chen. They say that when an indirect variable is related to dependent variable, suppose independent variable is x, dependent variable is y, and the mediating variable is m. If mediating variable m is influencing y, because y gets influenced by x, then it other words means that it is the mediating variable which is responsible for a particular significant change in the dependent variable. So a dependent variable would not have got this much of a score. It was because of the mediating variable. So we say that it happens, it goes via media, it goes via somebody. So directly X is not responsible for any change in Y, but X is influencing M and M is influencing Y. Still then we can say that the X was responsible for a kind of relationship between a X independent variable and a Y dependent variable. There's a lot that has been said on this particular issue. Then how do we do it? We have different ways through which we can manage that. Now, these are some of the scenarios. I would wish that if you can do some exercise of your own so that you're in a better position to understand how hypotheses are formulated. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So can you just take a screenshot of these scenarios? Then each one of you will have this hypothesis formulated of your own. So that I will tell you where you have committed a mistake or where it has been right.
काय म्हणतात ते?
Have you taken the slide, taken the screenshot of the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you go one by one? Okay, are you done with the scenarios? And can you just share with me how you have framed the this take the case of first scenario. What about the first scenario? Employee training improves job performance through increased skill development. Which one is independent? Which one is dependent? Which one is mediating variable? Could you please?
Skill development is mediating variable.
Yes. Yes, please. Fine. Independent variable?
Employee training is
Exactly.
independent.
Dependent variable is job performance. Now, can you
Yes.
tell me on the basis of Zhou, Lynch, and Chen logic, what three hypotheses can be framed for this? Yes.
Employee training improves job performance.
What is the hypothesis can frame for? Yes. Now, what will be the first this hypothesis for the first scenario? Can anybody share? Let me know, or I shall begin with.
Sir, hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, for the statement one, actually, null hypothesis, we can say that no any employee improves their job performance through increased skill development. Or alternate hypothesis, we can say that some of the employees can improve the job performance through increased skill development.
No. Look, let me clarify it to you. Unfortunately, we had a problem with the internet. I would have given further details about it because we lost some time in between. The first thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have the employee training as the employee training is independent variable, job performance as a dependent variable, and the mediating variable is increasing skill development. And now, since we have followed Zhou, Lynch, and Chen, this is one of the most recommended approaches being followed for testing the mediation. So in this case, the independent variable has to be related to a mediator. Mediator has to be related to the dependent variable. This is how it works. So if, for example, we have an independent variable, in this case, employee training. Employee training is significantly related to or significantly influences skill development. Skill development significantly influences job performance. That means in a mediating kind of a hypothesis, the independent variable is basically, as per Zhou, Lynch, and Chen, affecting the mediator. Then mediator is basically influencing the dependent variable. That's why we have to be careful when it comes to formulating the hypothesis. And as per Barron and Kenny, the independent variable should influence the dependent variable, but Zoll, and Chen take a different route. They say that if independent variable influences dependent mediating variable in turn, influences the dependent variable, we must assume that independent variable has its influence on the dependent variable. I will give an example to you. Back to your homes, we have got the sometimes children, and what we I is not ready to accept what you say to them directly. If a same message is conveyed by you through his or her friend and it is passed on to him, there is a possibility that he might listen to, and as a result, he gets influenced. Now, it means that actually it was your interest that it be done this way. So you indirectly have been able to influence the person. Indirectly, you have been able to influence. Say, I give an example of a department where head of the department influences the faculty members, and in turn, faculty members influence the students. Suppose a very congenial atmosphere is created by the head of the department. You can expect faculty members also doing their best, extending all possible cooperation to the head of the department, doing wonderfully well. Then what does that mean? It means that the way head of the department has approached his own colleagues, they in turn approach the system very well. They approach the workplace very well. They approach the students very well. They approach their own colleagues so well. So it means that head of the department has got an influence on the faculty. In turn, the faculty has got an influence on the students. So this is how we can have a hypothesis for this kind of a scenario, where we can have independent variable related to mediating variable, mediating to dependent. Social media use affects political engagement through political awareness. Very relevant. Now, what does social media use does? It affects political engagement. But how? Through political awareness. So it means that social media helps in creating that political awareness among us the. And once that happens, they get politically engaged. So political engagement does not come directly through social media use. Basically, political awareness is a must, and that political awareness comes through social media use. Therefore, we say that it indirectly has got an impact on the ultimate objective of political engagement. We would like that everybody takes part in the elections, and then social media plays a very important role. It circulates messages, manifestos, I beg your pardon, and it tells about which particular party stands for what, and then it gives birth to what is called political awareness, and that gives birth to political engagement. So we say social media use significantly influences political awareness. Political awareness significantly influences political engagement. We can say, therefore, political awareness mediates the relationship between social media use and political engagement. So likewise, you have to do it for rest of the scenarios. And if you have got any questions, you are most welcome to pose me, or any clarifications you want to seek, you are most welcome to do it. Or else, if you want me to carry on, I will continue with. Choice is yours. Yes, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, any more questions? Any clarifications, please? Am I audible to you or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir,
You
you're
are audible.
audible.
Yeah, I'm audible, but you're not responding to my questions. I'm saying that if you've got any queries, please do raise them, do ask me.
Sir, I think there are no questions.
Okay.
So if you could permit, shall we conclude, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As you
Yeah.
wish. Fine.
So on behalf of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, and SND College, SND Institute of Technology and Research Center, Nasik, I extend my sincere thanks to you, sir, for such a wonderful session towards this research hypothesis. We are really thankful to you, sir, for a wonderful session, and definitely your inputs will be very valuable for us to design our hypothesis for our research purpose. I once again extend my sincere thanks for your precious time and thought-provoking session here, and with the kind consent of Professor Nazir, sir, I would like to declare that first session will be over here and we will continue for the next session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's so great of you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, Professor Suresh, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Ma'am,
afternoon.
shall we start if you could permit?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah. So friends, as I have already told you that today's session have been split into the two different parts. First part on the theme of this research and development we have at most completed. And now we are moving with the another part of the today's session. Friends, you know that in the today's scenario, we will talking about the interdisciplinary research, transdisciplinary research, and this NEP, that is the National Education Policy, has changed with this dynamic of our research. So what kind of transdisciplinary or interdisciplinary research are there? And what are the opportunities in the present scenario? We're going to discuss in this session with the help of one of our distinguished scholarly and the senior academician, Professor Preeti Suresh, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I extend my warm welcome on behalf of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, and SND College, one of our collaborative institution, SND Institute of Technology and Research Center, situated in the Yeola, Nasik. I extend my warm welcome to you on this platform and this flagship program. Friends, Professor Suresh ma'am is a distinguished pharmaceutical scientist, academic leader, and the professor of the University of Institution of Pharmacy at Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, situated in the Chhattisgarh. She, before joining this institution, Professor Suresh ma'am has served for Jivaji University, Gwalior, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, that is a central university situated in the Sagar, and the Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, which is also a central university situated in the Bilaspur, in various capacities. Presently, she is serving as a professor as well as the director of this Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center at Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University. Her area of specialization is the novel drug discovery system and drug delivery system and the nanocarrier for the drug delivery application, with a major research contribution in the oral peptide delivery, oral drug delivery, lipid and polymer-based nanocarrier, and the control of the targeted delivery system. She brings over the 3 decades of teaching, enriching teaching research experience, including the postdoctoral research across the leading Indian universities. Professor Suresh ma'am has successfully guided the multiple PhD and the MPharm scholars and has undertaken the multiple sponsored and the institutional research project in advancing the drug delivery and the nanomedicine. She has an impressive publication record, comprising the 48 research articles in the reputed national and the international peer-reviewed and the index journal, 3 book chapters, and the several popular science articles. Her research impact is evidenced by the Scopus citation 249 with the H-index 8 and this Google Scholar citation for 476 with the H-index 9 and I-10 index 9. Her excellence has been recognized through the various prestigious awards and honor that includes the Dr. Eric Drexler Gold Medal for Best Scientific Presentation at Nanotech India in 2009 and Mastiqual International Foundation Research Fellowship in the Japan and a CSR Senior Research Fellowship. She is a registered pharmacist with the Chhattisgarh State Pharmacy Council. Professor Suresh ma'am has made a significant contribution to the academic governance and the professional services, serving as a member of the academic council, chairperson of the board of studies, a member of the examination committee, editor for the CWC, that is the Center for Women Studies newsletter. She is also the reviewer for the several high-impact international journals in nanomedicine and drug discovery, and frequently serve as an expert member on the research committee of the different universities. Actively engaged in the national and the international scientific forum, Professor Suresh ma'am has presented over 50 research papers in the conferences, delivered the numerous invited talks, chaired multiple technical sessions, and contributed as a resource person and the expert in the various UGC, AICT, DBT sponsored program. She is a life member of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, and International Foundation Japan. And most important thing is that Professor Suresh ma'am is a member of the steering committee constituted by the Chhattisgarh state government towards the implementation of this national education policy. So friends, this is a brief introduction with regards to Professor V.T. Suresh ma'am. Today, we are luckily fortunate to get such kind of eminent personality who is directly engaging at the state level, not only at the state level, but also the national level towards the implementation of this national education policy. So, ma'am, we are warmly welcome you on behalf of all the esteemed gathering. And now may I request you on behalf of all the esteemed gathering to please start with your session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a very humbling introduction, I should say. I should make it very clear that I am just like you, one of the members of the teaching fraternity. It is just by chance that I'm here, maybe with the associations that I have been able to make during the last 25 years, right? So just allow me to share my screen. And before that, I would also like to thank Professor Muhammad Atiq, Director MMTTC at Sant Gadke Baba Amravati University, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the participants for this NEP orientation and sensitization program. Right. And before I proceed further, I would like to know from the participants, like whether I should continue in English or should it be bilingual? What would the participants prefer?
Hello, ma'am. English.
English? Okay. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So this is which day of the NEP orientation and sensitization program?
No,
Fourth day? Okay.
yes, ma'am. Fourth day.
Fourth day. Fourth day. Okay. And as you know, this program is one of the flagship programs of the UGC, where we are trying to reach out to over 15 lakh teachers across the various higher education institutions. Because we know that the NEP, National Education Policy document, this was accepted and it came into the public domain on July 29th, 2020. So we have completed almost 6 years since this policy came into it. But and because education is part of the concurrent list, that means it is being governed both by the central government and the state government. And due to that, different states have been adopting it at their own different paces. Maybe in some institutions, it was implemented 5 years back. But there are also some institutions where we see that it was implemented only 2 years ago. So all of us, all of you also, we all have our own experiences, our own challenges, because adopting something new, it is not very easy. there will be some issues which will come across. So I always feel that such programs are not only an opportunity for a resource person like me to share what their understanding and what their perspective is, but I also take this as an opportunity to listen from you, to hear from you, the major stakeholders, the teachers who are implementing it at their institutions. There may be many best practices that you may be following. So I will be very happy if at any point of time you will also interact and you can also share some of your practices at your end. But before that, I have a small presentation, and I would just like to take this session forward by sharing this presentation. This is just to give you a glimpse of the university where I am presently associated with, that is Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, which is located in the capital city of Chhattisgarh, Raipur. We are a 62-year-old university. But another purpose for showing this screen to you is also to share with you the motto of our university. The motto of our university, this is taken from one of the ancient texts, that is Isha Upanishad, which says Agne Naye Supatha Rai. And if we go by its translation, it means, O fire or O Agni, lead us on a virtuous path to prosperity. So I think as teachers, as faculty members, we all are aware that our basic duty is to ensure that the students who are entering into our campuses, we are able to educate them, to empower them, to provide opportunities for them so that they are able to develop certain skills that will assist them in leading a prosperous life. But at the same time, it is also our moral responsibility to ensure that they are following a virtuous path in whatever roles that they are going to play in the society. So not only our university, I think all of us teachers, wherever we may be, this can serve as a guiding light. So during this session, I would just like to touch upon these points. And to begin with, I'm assuming at this time that all of you have gone through the National Education Policy document. And even if you have not gone through it, it will be my earnest request to please go through it, because till now I come across many teachers who have not read it. They are unaware about what are the recommendations that have been made for us in the NEP document. And if you have gone through it, you will agree with me that it is a very critical document. Critical in the sense it is also very critically pointing out like what have been the major issues or that have been affecting our higher education ecosystem as a whole. And one of the major concerns have been regarding the fragmentation, right, of our higher education ecosystem, where we have categorized ourselves into rigid disciplines. And each discipline, if you see that there are further super specializations, and as the students moves up on the ladder, you will see that we are streaming the students into a very narrow area. On one hand, this certainly helps us to ensure that the students are acquiring expertise in a particular domain, but sometimes it is observed that the students fail to develop a holistic view because they have been trained or they have been exposed to only one dimension of any issue or any subject. Another concern has been regarding the focus of our education, where it has been more of a teacher-centric system, whereas teachers, we are provided with a syllabus, we go to the classrooms, and somehow our major concern always remains to complete the syllabus so that the students can appear in the examinations. But at the end of it, what are the skills that the students are acquiring? That is somehow missed upon. But during the last few years, we have seen how now we are moving more towards outcome-based education, where we have program outcomes, program-specific outcomes, course outcomes, And at the end of the program or after the completion of a course, we are also measuring the attainment values also. So there has been a positive change in this direction. Another concern has been due to the diversity in the nature of the institutions that we are having. And this difference is not only due to the type of the programs that are being offered to the students, but it is also due to the facilities or the infrastructure that the students have at their disposal, right? Because on one end of the spectrum, we see there are these premier institutions which are very handful in numbers, whether it is IITs or IIMs or other central universities or institutions, or even to some extent these state universities and some premium colleges also. But the majority of our institutions, these are located in the socio-economically challenged areas, where we see that the institutes are struggling due to the uh, non-availability of the requisite infrastructure. Sometimes the number of teachers will also be handful, which may not be sufficient to run a course or a program successfully. And even though sometimes if these teachers, they are enthusiastic and they want to implement some new things or they want to bring about a change, the institutions do not have the autonomy or the flexibility to do so. And also, sometimes, even though teachers may want it, their bosses, whether they may be their principals or HODs or deans or directors, they may not give them much flexibility to go for or to opt some alternative methods or things. And another issue has been regarding the structure where we have these large affiliating universities, and under one university, sometimes there may be hundreds of colleges. And here, this number of colleges or institutions which are being governed under an university makes it very difficult for the university authorities to strictly monitor or regulate the quality of education. And the major sufferer we always see is the undergraduate students. But since in today's session, we are majorly focusing on research and development, there was one report by the Ernst and Young in 2024-25, where they have shared how there are over 56,800 higher education institutions, including both the uh, universities, colleges, government-run institutions, privately funded institutions deemed to be universities. Uh, but out of these large numbers, only 850 institutions. So that means around only 1.5% of the institutions are focused on research. And so we can all expect how the manpower that we are having or the expertise that we are having is not being focused on research. But there is also one reason for that, and there are several reasons for it. But one of the major reason is the paucity of the funds, because we all know research is a very fund-intensive activity, and it requires to run the activities around research. It requires funds, and because the institutions they do not have those funds or they do not have access to those resources, even if the teachers or the faculty members may want to invest their time and energy in research, they are not able to do so. That is how we see that the national, so whatever I have discussed, these are some of the points which has been observed in the what are the major concerns in our higher education ecosystem. And we see how the national education policy is giving us many ways in which we can bring about the changes, whether it is about multidisciplinary education, where the student have the choice to uh, choose the subjects that they want to study. They are not restricted by the particular core discipline that they are studying. So that makes that even a student from science who is studying science, he or she, they have the flexibility to choose say one subject from humanities, one from commerce, two from vocational education, and still continue his education. Another major is about the skill development, because now we see the skill component is being also stressed upon, where the component of internship has been made compulsory. Even the students have the choice that they can earn their credits on the basis of research projects that they are doing. And also from the research point of view, it was recommended that there will be an establishment of NRF, or the National Research Foundation. So all this makes us to again come back to the thing that sometimes we think that higher education, the basic purpose or element of any higher education institution is only teaching and learning. But we have to remember that apart from teaching and learning, there are other elements also that any higher education institution need to focus upon. So apart from teaching and learning, we also have to focus on synthesis and creativity, where we have to ensure that our students are given the platform to explore their innovation, to come out with some innovative things, so that opportunities are to be provided to the students. Similarly, we also have to provide an environment to the students where they can interact with other stakeholders, not only their teachers or their peers, but also with other stakeholders, whether it is the community or your future employers. So all that engagement also has to be focused upon. Another is the service and outreach, because we as higher education institutions, we will be failing in our duties if we do not offer solutions for the problems that are prevailing in the community or in the society, because we cannot live in isolation. We also have to be sensitive about the needs of the community, because it is a sheer waste of our manpower, our expertise, if with the help of whatever domain specific knowledge that we are having or whatever skills that we are having, we are not able to offer solutions for the problems that may be prevalent in the community or in the society. And apart from that, research and development, that is also an important component. We all know research, the industries are also focusing on research, but their research is somehow more with a commercial perspective. They are more market driven, and they may not always be working on the basic research. So here comes the responsibility of the higher education institutions to ensure that within their campuses, we are also involved in the activities related to research. Now, before I proceed further, I would like to know from the participants, like, what do you think is basically research? Yes.
Hello,
Yes, yes.
ma'am. Is it upgradation of the existing field?
Yeah, it is upgradation of the existing field, yeah, to some point. Yes.
To find new idea and innovation.
To find new ideas and innovation. Okay. So here comes one word, innovation. Okay, I will come to that, Dr. Santosh, later on. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Anything else that you would like to add? So whenever we are talking about research, it is basically a very, you can say, a systematic investigation, right? And we may be creating new knowledge, and sometimes we may be using the existing knowledge, but in a new and creative manner. And in this process, we will be coming up with newer concepts, newer methodologies, or newer understandings, right? And sometimes what happens is we may be referring to the research that has been done by people before us, right? It is not that we are in our research, we always have to come out with something new always, but sometimes we may be referring to the work which have been done by people before us, and trying to interpret or work it in such a way so that we are able to come up with new or creative outcomes. Right. So any research activity, you will see that it has basically two aims. One is the discovery of new knowledge. That is one of the aims. And second is, with this new knowledge, we may be able to develop new technologies. New technologies can be in terms of new processes, where we may be able to come up with more efficient processes or more economical processes, or processes which are more sustainable, which are more environmental friendly, or we may be able to come up with new products, value added products, products which are in demand by the customers or consumers, or it can also be new way in which the services are being offered to the community or the society. So, Dr. Santosh, I think, mentioned this word innovation. So, I would like to know from the participants again, like, what is basically innovation? Is innovation and research one and the same thing? Or is there any difference? Yes.
To find
So
new
basically,
idea,
to,
help to the people.
to find new ideas to help the people. Yes. Yeah. To
Or
an extent.
community.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the community. Yes. So whenever we are talking about research, research is basically the practical implementation of the new ideas. You know, there has to be some practical uh, uh, usefulness for that particular whatever your research idea is, or whatever new technology that you intend to develop. But one thing that is very important for an innovation, it is that it should have an economic value, or it should have a social value. Unless and until it is having an economic value, or it is having a social value, or it is contributing to revenue generation, we cannot say it is an innovation. And somehow innovation is also related to research, because it is very rightly said that the research is the engine which drives the innovation, right? So we see that nowadays there is so much focus upon innovation within our higher education institutions also. I hope in your university also you must be having these institution innovation councils, where you may be conducting many activities for the students. You may be conducting ideathon and hackathons for the students. You may be conducting sessions for the students to encourage them for entrepreneurships, for startups and all. So overall, if you see, there has been a very positive change in the innovation ecosystem within the country. As of 2015, we were at the 81st position in the Global Innovation Index. And as of 2025, we have now jumped to 38th position. And all this leap that we had made is mainly due to the innovation ecosystem that we are having now, whether it is the involvement of the public and the private sectors, but academia has also played an important role in it, in addition to the civic society. And we also, that has been majorly two schemes of the government. One has been the Startup India scheme, and second one is the Stand Up India scheme. And if you see all these schemes, they do not only provide financial support, like if you have an idea which has the potential to grow into a full-blown company or a business, then you are provided with the uh, finances, and that too at a very low interest rate. Apart from the financial assistance, you are also provided uh, mentoring through the industry partners, industry people who will handhold you, who will guide you, because with the exposure, with their experience, they are the best people who can help us to build these companies, right? Lately in January this year, we had completed 10 years of Startup India scheme. And the data which came, which clearly indicated the impact of this, because now, as of now, there are more than 2 lakh startups. And these startups, they have also been able to create new employment. Over 21 lakh new jobs have been created. And these have also been very, you can say, uh, led to the empowerment of the women, because almost 45% of these startups, they have at least one women director or one women partner. And another scheme has been the Stand Up India, where you can say that these are schemes specially for the marginalized sections of the community, whether it is the women entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurs coming from the SC/ST community. So the basic purpose is to empower them, to make them more enterprising and provide more employment opportunities for them. So we all know like what has been the impact of R&D on our uh, global impact, right? Because we all are aware how many of our industries, whether it is the IT industries or the automobile industry or the pharmaceutical industry or the telecommunication sector or even the new areas like IoT or AI or data analytics, we have contributed a lot to R&D in this structure, in this segments, and they are a major source for our GDP also. Just to take an example from the pharma industry, coming from the pharmaceutical science background, I'm happy to share how we are one of the leading manufacturers of generic products. We are the third largest manufacturers of generic products in numbers. And even the specialized products, I should say the vaccines that you call, there are over 50 vaccines that we have developed indigenously, that is by the scientists, both in the private, with the private vaccine manufacturers and the government institutions who have undertaken rigorous research in the areas and has come up with this, I should say, repository of vaccines. Even the WHO, which we know that it conducts uh, drives, health related drives in various countries, it procures almost 70% of its products from the Indian manufacturers, because we are not only able to provide quality products, but these products are also at a very economical rate. Even the vaccines, 60% of the vaccines that are produced globally, that is through the Indian manufacturers. And it is also said that every child who receives a vaccine anywhere in the world, at least one vaccine will be that has been manufactured in India. So that is how you will see that the all this has been only due to the virtue of the R&D. But now we also know, we all are evident uh, witnessing this, the how now we are standing at the scientific crossroads, because we are our GDP, we are in the 40th R&D rank as per the GDP. Like how much of the GDP we are spending on R&D, in that criteria we are in the 40th position, right? When the global benchmark is 2% of the GDP need to be spent on research, we are only spending around 0.7%. And also scientific temper, and it is calling for institutional reforms also. And as we look ahead, we have, uh, as the national education policy has come up, it has given us certain goals for us to achieve, right? Where we have to move towards the institutional reforms. There is also about how we have to move towards attaining the status of Viksit Bharat by 2047, where we will have to transform India into a global knowledge superpower by the virtue of our science, research, and innovation, right? And with that, I would like to know from the participants, like, why do you think that it is important for us to engage in research? हेलो सर, मैं एक सेशन में हूँ, मैं कॉल करती हूँ. हाँ, बताएंगे. यस. Why do you think research is important? We know it is important for the GDP of the country. But why is research important for higher education institutions?
Ma'am, to solve a real world problem.
To solve the real world problems. Yes, very true. Anything else? Yes, there is no right or wrong answers. I'm just trying to wake you up. I know it is a post-lunch session, afternoon session. I cannot see anyone. Everyone has kept their cameras on off. I'm not able to see anyone. So I'm not very sure whether
Hello, ma'am.
you all are here or not. Yes. Yes.
Increase the
Yes,
practical
Dr.
knowledge.
Harjeet.
Increase the practical knowledge.
Yeah. To increase the practical knowledge. Yes. Okay. Yes. Very true.
To improve the existing system.
To improve the existing system. For addition of newer knowledge. Right. Okay.
To establish some new facts.
To establish some new facts. Okay.
To upskill our skills,
To upscale our
knowledge.
knowledge. Yes. So as teachers, as we see that if we are engaged in research, what happens is we are updating ourselves, we are expanding our knowledge, we are keeping ourselves updated about the recent developments that that are taking place in our domain or in our discipline. And as we are exposed to those newer developments, what we will feel that we will be able to take all these things into our classrooms, right? We will be able to pass it on to our students as well. So as a result, the quality of education is certainly going to enhance. And you will also see that as institutions, when we are participating in NIRF or we are participating in NAC, there also research has some weightage. Does research has some weightage in that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so it has weightage both in NIRF and NAC. Now, although we are moving towards the new system of NAC accreditation with the 10 attributes, but if we just go refer back to where we had 7 criterions, research was which criteria?
Number 3.
Number 3, right? And it was research, innovation, and extension activities. And what was the weightage of it? How much percentage of our ranking is dependent upon research? Criterion 3. For universities, it was almost 25%. And for colleges, it was somewhere around 12 to 15%, right? So we cannot escape research. Ultimately, you take any institution which is higher on the NIRF or which is having an accreditation grade of A plus or A double plus, you will see that all these institutions are focusing on research. And when research is the focus in your institutions, we will see that we will be able to attract meritorious students within your campuses. The retention of the faculty members in your institutions will be also very high, right? Because the faculty members, they will have the opportunity to be engaged not only in their teaching assignments, but also to take up research also. And when we are engaging the students in some research projects, even though they may be some small research-based assignments, we are also able to develop critical thinking skills in our students. Because for research, they have to go through the recent literature, they have to think over it, they have to analyze it, even though nowadays they may be using the AI tools also, but still, as they are studying the various resources, they will be able to develop that critical thinking abilities, right? And this is one of the major benefits also, where we are also looking forward to provide experiential learning opportunities for the students. Apart from that also, as research will be the focus, you will see that you will be able to attract scholars from other institutions within your campus. Even your students and faculty members from your institutions, they will be participating in other research related academic events, whether it is some seminars on conferences and presenting their research, interacting with the experts from the other institutions. And when they come back, they will be coming with many positive or fruitful inputs also. So all this creates a very dynamic environment within your campuses. Apart from that, it is also an opportunity to come up with certain groundbreaking discoveries also. Because if you see, every year we see these Nobel Prizes are awarded. And you might have observed that all these are for some researchers who have been associated with some universities or institutes where they have been working on the research for years, and then that has been now being felicitated by the Nobel Prizes. Even during the COVID time, one of the vaccines which was introduced by Johnson and Johnson in America, that was basically developed by the scientists at the Harvard University. So that also gives us an opportunity for some groundbreaking discoveries also. Many of the policy, if many of you maybe here from the humanities background also, and many of the research that the people in humanities do, they contribute to the policy or governance, and recommendations that they make can bring about a change in the governance also. And also, when we are involved in research, it also gives us an opportunity to identify the problems that may be prevailing, or with the skills that we are having, we may be able to come up with certain solutions or offer solutions that will make their lives much more better. And last but not the least, what is very important is that when we are engaged in research, research ultimately requires funds. So if your faculty members are interested in research, they will be needing funds. And normally the institutes, they do not have much funds exclusively for research. So what do we have to do? We have to write research proposals, submit it to different funding agencies. And if your proposal is accepted, your institution will be getting an additional funding. And nowadays there is more, we see how there is now more and more focus on resource mobilization also. So research is also a major way in which we can mobilize the funds. Similarly, whenever we are going for research, we will realize that we are not having all the requisite infrastructure within our campuses or within our institutes, or we do not have the expertise that may be required for a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary project. So that means that now we will have to collaborate with other institutions, with other researchers. So when we are engaged in research, it also opens us a way through which we can collaborate with other institutions. So these are some of the ways by which we can contribute to higher education institutions, have a major contribution with the help of research. Now, whenever we are talking about research, the funding aspect always comes up, right? And if you just look at it, how much we are spending on R&D, actually, this is observed in terms of gross expenditure on R&D, because this, okay, out of the our research, how much percentage we are spending on out of our GDP, how much we are spending on R&D. And if you just see that amongst all these countries, developed countries, what we are spending on R&D is relatively less. For instance, Germany and Russia and UK, they are all having much more expenditure on R&D, but even smaller countries, say like Malaysia or Mexico, or even if you see Israel, all they are also having a much, much higher uh, GERD than what we are having. And if you just look at this graph where you can see that how much we are have been spending on R&D. So what the blue bars that you can see, you will see that over the years, our expenditure on R&D has increased, right? Our expenditure has increased. But this is only half the side of the story. And if you follow these lines, what you observe is that the gross expenditure on R&D as a percentage of GDP, this has somehow remained constant, or it has been around 0.65 percentage only. And why this is important? This is because this is one of the world development indicators which is published by the World Bank. And if you see that these countries, whether it is Germany or Japan or US, they have a higher GDP than us, right? And out of that higher GDP, what they are spending on R&D, that is also much, much higher. Even our global competitor China, it is spending 2.43 percentage of its GDP on research, whereas we are spending only 0.65 percentage. And for research, majorly four sectors are contributing. One is the government enterprise, government bodies. Second is the private business enterprises. Third is the higher education sector. And fourth is the private non-profit organizations. So if you just see that the uh, for the statistics for India, what do you observe here? What do you observe for the Indian statistics? Yes, please.
Indian contribution is very less, so poor.
Yeah, Indian contribution is less. How is it less? Here, what you see is 56.1 percentage by the government agencies. That means out of the funding that whatever we are spending on research, 56.1 percentage of it is coming through the government. Whereas for other countries, if you see, the contribution of the government is much less. So what does it indicate? That our dependency on government funds for research is way too high. Whereas if you see here, the private business enterprises, what they are spending on research is much, much higher than what we are spending. It is only 36.8 percentage of our budget of our spending on R&D is coming through private business enterprises. Whereas for countries, just for an example, South Korea or Japan, almost 80 percentage of our research budget is through the private business enterprises. I will come to that later on. Even higher education institutions, if you see, we are also spending lesser than what other countries are spending. And the contribution of private non-profit organization, that is almost negligible. So this is also showing us an opportunity also, like what are the areas where we need to focus upon? What are the areas from where we can we need to source more of our funds for research. And it is also we also have to be a bit realistic also, because if you see the private business enterprises, they are commercially driven, so they will be always ready to fund for your research if you are able to give some output out of your research. Merely doing research for some publication or just for your thesis, which will remain confined to a library, for such research, private business enterprises are not going to take interest. But if your research comes out with a tangible product or something which is useful for them, they will always be funding for your research. But if we just retrospect and we just look back and analyze, we will see that in higher education institutions, most of our research is only targeted towards achieving a academic degree, maybe PhD, and even though which may not have any practical utility, which may be very isolated from the reality, or your research may only be remaining confined in some publications, and that too also may not be quality publications. So that is one thing which I identifying for research that gains much of importance. And over the years, we have seen how although over the years, we see that the contribution of private sector has been on the rise. And so what does NEP, what is NEP saying about research? NEP is very categorically pointing out that we have to understand one thing, that research and innovation, they are very important aspect for enhancing the quality education. Just excuse me. I hope now I am audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry for that break. And so it is very being pointed out, like if we want to improve or enhance the quality of education, we will need to focus on research and innovation. And not only research, but we will have to promote quality research within our higher education institutions. And it is also important that we are able to integrate research, innovation, and technology development within our institute, able to attain the status of self-reliant India or Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that point is very important. And if we just look broadly, like what is the scientific vision that NEP is offering to us, it is giving us the curricular reform through which now we are exposed to students are exposed to multidisciplinary learning. They are able to develop critical thinking skills. The focus is more on R&D, and for that, NRF or the ANRF has now been established. And also how we have to integrate technology within our education, whether it is through edtech or through AI-driven solutions or through building, and how there is a need for global collaboration in terms of international partnerships. So if you see that the NEP has recommended the establishment of NRF or National Research Foundation, and on those lines, RF, that is the Anusandhan National Research Foundation, was established in 2023 under the Act, and it is a successor to SERB, what was earlier Scientific and Engineering Research Board, and it is being governed under the Ministry of Science and Technology. And if you see that it is majorly focusing on cutting edge research and innovation, and also there are more focus on increasing the private sector investment in R&D research projects, even for it is many of the calls for the research and the schemes that are being now available. It calls for collaborative research project where there is an joint research project from the academic institutions and the private sectors. So ultimately, the major, you can say, objective is also to bridge the gap, because there is a wide gap between the
Madam,
industry
you
and
are
the
not
academia.
audible.
Hello, am I audible?
No, please continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So did I got disconnected or?
No, madam, please continue, madam.
Yes, okay. Okay. So that is how you will see that this ENRF, which has been established, and it has been for 5 years, almost. It has been funded for over 50,000 crores. And one very interesting, have you heard about Saral? This is one key initiative under the ANRF. It is an AI-based tool, Saral. Have you heard about it?
No, ma'am.
So this Saral is actually, if you can visit the ANRF website, where you will see that this is an AI tool, and in this tool you can do a research paper, whatever research paper is there, and it will convert it into, you do not have to work on it much, and it will convert it into reels or threads or podcast or posters or slides, which you can share it anywhere, right? So basically this Saral, it stands for the Simplified and Automated Research Amplification and Learning. So this AI tool, this has also been offered under the ANRF, because ultimately what happens is sometimes the research that we are doing, it may be hidden behind certain complex scientific terminology, and the common person is not able to gauge or to understand what it is actually about. So to make your research more accessible for the general public, this tool is very helpful. And that is, you will see, if you just this is a screenshot that I am presenting here, where this paper, your research paper is there, that you can now convert it into some a YouTube video, podcast video, or you can make presentation slides. Even you can make some reels for Instagram or YouTube. It can also be converted into videos. You can make it into posters also, and maybe it will also give you a very summary for your research work that you can present at for different uh, forums, or where you may be looking for funding for your or commercialization of your research project. So you just explore this, and there are many options that are available to us. This was about how NEP has been focusing on the establishment of ANRF, right? Another major dimension to it, we said, was the multidisciplinary approach in education. Now, whenever we are using the term multidisciplinary, we only try to think it like it is giving more options to the student, where the student has the choice to study, select the subjects, whatever they want. But behind that, we also have to understand that when the student is studying different subjects or different courses which may be belonging to different disciplines, we see that the student is able to develop 4 different skills. And what are these skills? These skills are that they become more curious, their creativity is also explored, and they also develop the analytical thinking ability, because one single problem they are able to see from the lens of different subjects, right? And it also helps in developing the critical thinking skills. And these 4 skills are very important for a student to frame the right research question, because unless and until you are able to frame the right research question, your research will not be able to come out with some meaningful outcomes or solutions. So on that line also, it has also been recommended that UGC has recommended the establishment of R&D cells. So do your institution have an R&D cell?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like. Yes, okay. Which institute it is?
SND College of Engineering and Research Center, Yaula. It's
Yaula, okay.
autonomous.
Autonomous college, okay. It is affiliated to Sant Gadge Baba?
No, ma'am. Savitribai Phule Pune Vidyapith.
Okay, okay. And what are the activities that are undertaken by the R&D cell in your institution?
Hello, Dr. Rane, sir. Hello. Ma'am,
Hello.
Dr. Rane, he's the Dean R&D. He's also with us.
Okay, okay.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, Dr. Raneji, I would be happy to learn like what are the activities that you are conducting under the R&D cell. And I hope,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, right now from previous year, we have seen that R&D cell activities are also mentioned in IIC cell.
Okay.
So we are also going to conduct that all activities that mentioned in IIC in our regular academic year.
Okay. So there are academic activities, you are engaged in academic activities, right? Okay. Anything else? Any other objectives? I hope you have gone through this guidelines by the UGC, or you are
Yes, ma'am.
governed by AICT. It is an engineering college.
Engineering college, ma'am.
Achha, purely engineering.
Purely engineering, engineering and technology. Means purely engineering.
Purely engineering. Okay. Okay. So there is like it has been recommended by the UGC also like to establish the R&D. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rani, for that. It has been recommended. You can just certainly go through this guideline. It will further help you to design more activities for your R&D cell. Very small document it is, hardly 5 to 6 pages is there. Because what we have generally we observe in our higher education institutions, like we are not very ready to collaborate with people from other disciplines. We are not very open to go for multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary research projects. So it is very important to break those silos. And one of the function of our R&D cell is to ensure that we are interacting more with other faculty members from other disciplines. We are coming up with multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary research projects. And our institution should also have a research policy in place. I hope you also have a research policy for your institution. And as an institution, you should identify like what will be the thrust areas for your research. And your thrust areas should be, no doubt, it should be in alignment with the vision and mission of your institution. But apart from that, we also have to ensure that whatever themes that you are identifying, it is in alignment with the national and the regional needs, right? And also, R&D cell also has to support the faculty members in writing the research proposals, because writing research proposals is an art. Some teachers may be very good at it, some may require some assistance or help. So that platform also has to be provided through the R&D cell. And now through R&D cell, many IPRs may be generated. So how to manage those IPRs? Your institution should also have a IPR policy also. And especially when you are conducting collaborative or joint research projects, in that case, what will be the sharing of the IPRs? That is very important. And how are you going to work on it? And what will be the division of the profits and all that? Everything must be clear cut in your policy documents. And also because research is a evolving field, it is a dynamic field. So we will have to conduct regularly some workshops or hands-on training programs for our students and faculty members. And there also has to be whatever research or such activities are being conducted, you have to monitor the research activities also, and how you are ultimately disseminating those research findings. That is also an important aspect. This is just the proposed organizational structure of the R&D cell. I hope you can go through it. So now the question certainly arises, like how can we transform the research within our higher education institutions? So one is by partnering or collaborating. So as I said earlier also, we may not have all the facilities at our institution, or we may not have all the expertise that are required. So we can always partner with others who complement our uh, expertise, or who have the facilities or the infrastructure that will be useful for us to take our research forward. Similarly, since you are an engineering college, faculty members, I think majority of you are from those institutions. Engineering colleges in the courses programs have been 4-year programs. in addition to other technology-based programs, whether it is B.Tech or even B.Pharm or other medical or paramedical courses. But now with the NEP, even the regular programs, that is the say BA, BSc or BCom, they are also now being offered as the 4-year undergraduate program. And in the 4th year, the student has the choice. If they have scored over 7.5 CGPA in the first 3 years, they can take up research to earn their credit in the 4th year. And for such students, the degree that they will be getting is the BA honors with research or BCom honors with research or BSc honors with research. And the students who are not taking up research or who are taking other courses to complete their undergraduate course, they will be getting a simple BA or B honors degree, right? So now even the UG students also we will be having. All of them may not go for research, but at least we will have a handful of manpower, I should say, who can be engaged in research programs also. Another is to offer research and teaching assistantship to the graduate and undergraduate students. So in that process, what happens is while working on some research projects in addition to their courses that they are doing, they will be getting experiential learning. And also for that work that they are doing, they also will be getting some remuneration, which will be helping the economically needy student. And also, another very important thing is we also have to ensure that our students have access to libraries and databases, because unless and until our students have access to latest resources, latest information, we cannot expect them to conduct meaningful research. And in this direction, ONOS has been a very positive step. Can you tell me about ONOS? What is this ONOS? ONOS is One Nation, One Subscription, and this is basically a government-funded digital library. I hope I am audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is One Nation, One Subscription, and this is being offered through the InflipNet. If your institution is connected through InflipNet, which is an autonomous UGC center, your institution will be having access to over 32 publishers. Subscription has been taken through a central fund, and access to that has been provided to those institutions, because we all know the subscription of all these journals, especially Q1, Q2 journals, are sometimes too high. Sometimes it runs in lakhs, and it is not possible for any institution to subscribe the journals for all the subjects, right? And all the journals. So it has been a challenge for who have been in the research to have access to those resources. But now through this One Nation, One Subscription portal, we are having access to all these papers. So over 13,000 journals can now be accessed through this portal, and which are being offered through 30 to 32 publishing houses and almost 6,300 institutions. So on a pilot basis, this is now being offered to government higher education institutions and public R&D laboratories. And over 1.8 crore students and faculty members are and researchers are being benefited by it. And as of May 2026, almost I should say more than 13 crore downloads have been made through this portal. So this also has been a very positive step, where we are also now having access to various digital resources. So this is just to give you a glimpse of the portal of the ONOS. So this is to give you the glimpse of some of the facilities that we have been able to create at our end in our university by the virtue of the funding that we have been able to get through various research funding agencies, and some of the facilities, as you see, are one of its kind in this entire region, where even the many of the premier researchers from premier institutions are also availing these facilities. So ultimately, we also have to understand one thing, that there is a connection between teaching and research. Both are not very diverse activities, because both ultimately these are based on pursuit of knowledge, both on curiosity and rationality. And there are many shared, I should say, values, which features, which are both with the teaching and research, where both are into problem solving, both are engaged into methodological training, and both are into knowledge creation and transmission. And ultimately, the aim of both the activities is to develop specialized and discipline specific knowledge. So as we integrate teaching and research, I think it benefits both the students and the teachers, because uh, it has always been a challenge for us as teachers to engage the students, and especially more so in the current times when there are so many diversions for the students. But when we are engaging the students, even in some small assignments that we are doing, giving to them, which is based on research, we will see that we will be able to engage the students more efficiently. And in that process, the student will also be learning about the various research methodologies, and they also will appreciate the fact why it is important and how actually knowledge production takes place. And somehow this also helps the students to connect the content that they are studying in their classrooms with their real lives. And as teachers also, this also improves our research, because while you are explaining those research concepts to the students, our own research thoughts gets more clarity. And we also have to keep ourselves updated. We also have to go through the recent literature to see the recent advances that are occurring in our field. And sometimes the questions that are raised by the students, that also gives newer directions to our own research. So it is important that as an institutions, we should be able to identify the thrust areas of our research as per the local, national, and global priorities, because only then there will be the maximum potential for interdisciplinary and genuine partnership. And also, whatever research that we are doing, it will be ultimately contributing for the benefit of the society. So the research, as you see, it can be either disciplinary research. In discipline specific research, what happens is, whatever research goal that we are setting, it is only within that particular discipline, and whatever new knowledge that is being developed, that will only be contributing to that particular discipline. But when we are moving towards the multidisciplinary research is where we may be working under a thematic umbrella, right? And under that thematic umbrella, multiple disciplines will be there, and each discipline will be taking up a goal which is closely related to that particular theme, but within the expertise or within the skills that particular discipline offers. For example, if there is a multidisciplinary project, say on climate change, the team members may be from geology, from economics, or from sociology. So the person from the geology will only be studying, like, what are the changes in the geology regarding due to the climate change. The person from the economics will be only studying what are the changes in the economic status of the people due to the climate change, how the economic status of the people is changing, how the uh, economy in that particular area that has gone under a change due to this climate change. And the person from the sociology, they will only be studying what are the sociological changes, how it is impacting the community as a whole. There is one more concept that is coming up is the participatory research. Participated research, in conventional research, what happens is we try to identify problems by doing our literature survey, right? But in participated research, there are both the academic partners and the non-academic partners. And here, the exchange of the knowledge is taking place, but somehow there may not always be an integration between these two, right? We may be sometimes taking the help of the conventional knowledge or the people who are having the traditional knowledge, and it will be taking us forward within our own academic research. I'm happy to share that in our university, we have a hub, research hub, that is Sangwari Hub, which is basically a community-based participatory research hub. And this hub, this was established under the Knowledge for Change Consortium, and it is was under a tripartite agreement between the Chhattisgarh State Planning Commission, then Priya, which is an NGO, and Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur. And I'm happy to share that this practice, this also was it also found a mention in the report of the UGC on National Curriculum Framework and Guidelines 2020 for fostering social responsibility and community engagement in higher educational institution under the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. And we had found a mention in that. And we were the first university in the country to introduce a certificate course in CBPR in 2018 and 19. And currently, this is also being offered as an elective under the CBCS system. So the students who are taking up this course, they are the field work that they are undertaking, it is ensured that they are taking the research projects which revolves around the sustainable development goals. Since time is running out, so these are some of, for instance, some of the projects which were undertaken by the students. One was this Chhattisgarh state. This has a very rich tribal community, rich in terms of knowledge. For instance, there is Bega community, which is the PVTG group, that is the particularly vulnerable tribal group. And they have a number of very rich source of knowledge regarding the use of medicinal plants. And there are some of the knowledge, it is not documented anywhere, but it is being passed down from one generation to another. So efforts are being made to document their practices and how it can be useful for their sustainable economic growth. So similarly, many such documentation work has been carried on by our students. Another type of research, that is the interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research is where you see the boundaries between the disciplines are dissolved. We are not able to identify where one discipline ends and where the other starts. And whatever new knowledge is being developed, it is an integrated knowledge, and it is being contributing to all the other discipline. But the best part is the transdisciplinary research. In transdisciplinary research, as you see, the boundaries between the disciplines and the academic and the non-academic partners, that also dissolves, and we set up a common goal, and whatever new knowledge that is being developed, that contributes both to the community and both to the science or to the academic discipline. So this is just one of the projects there is an Indian Institute of Bhilai, and under the IIT Bhilai Innovation and Technology Foundation, they had supported our university with over 3 crores for 5 different projects under the National Mission of Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical System program of the DST. And in one of the projects where I was associated with, where we were working on a development of a cost analysis based tool for enhancing the accessibility of medicine in tribal population of Chhattisgarh. So this was a truly interdisciplinary team, and because in addition to the persons from the pharmacy background, there were also people from economics, because we had to take their expertise for the development of cost analysis based tool. Because we were dealing with the tribal population of Chhattisgarh, we also had a person from sociology in the group. And because ultimately with the data that we are collecting, we were looking forward to development of a mobile app. So there were also people from the computer science department as well. So I think this is the strength of having an interdisciplinary research team, that we are able to identify a problem and create or some impact through our research within the community. So here is a small video, and I hope with this you will be able to more appreciate why interdisciplinary research is important. If you cannot hear the video audio, I think you can follow the subtitles.
आता MDM सरांना किती पण पाठ गाड्या आहे ना.
So when we are going for interdisciplinary research, we are able to find solutions for the complex problems, because whatever complex problems that we are facing, whether it is climate change or various health issues or poverty, all these problems are complex and multidimensional. And no single discipline can fully understand these problems or offer solutions for that. Similarly, when we are coming together as an interdisciplinary research team, we will realize that there is more innovation is taking place. Newer ideas are coming up at a much faster rate. And also it also improves the quality of the research also, because each discipline brings with it their own methodologies, their own data sources, their own data analytical tools, which improves the quality of research. And also on a personal level also, when we are working with a team, apart from our own discipline, we will also be able to look at the problem from a different perspective also. We will also be able to look at the nuances of a complex problem. And last but not the least, what is very important is it also increases the funding opportunities also. Because nowadays, if you see the project proposal calls that we are seeing, whether it is from the private business foundations or government agencies, all are looking for projects which are having a multidisciplinary or the interdisciplinary team or an interinstitutional team. So in that respect also, it is important that we go for all these multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary projects. So with that, I would like to end the session. And if there are any observations or any questions or any queries, or if you want to share some of your best practices, you can share it.
Thank you, ma'am. Participant, the forum is open for question, answer, or the discussion. Or if you have some kind of observation is also, that will be really appreciable. Please, anyone. Yes, anyone has any queries or the questions?
I'm not sure if everyone is listening or...
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
So how we can use AI, ML, or artificial intelligence in our project? Suppose I am from mechanical field, so can we link those for as a multidisciplinary research? Is it
Yes,
okay?
yes, definitely. Why not? That is the call for the day. Yeah, that is, you have to go for it. The thing is, like, the field is very vast. You have to identify some core area. What are the area in which you want to offer the solutions through AI, ML? That problem identification is important. Which domain you want to work on, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Madam, we have already discussed about ONOS, that is a publication platform for the research scholar nowadays. Hello.
Pardon? Yes.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, you are audible.
Madam, we have already discussed the ONOS about publication platform for the papers, research papers. Yeah, it is. Does it is accepted by universities? If we are done one kind of research, and if we publish paper in like that platform, does university accept all this?
I'm not able to follow your question. Like, you have done research?
Now presently, I am doing research in particular subject of mechanical engineering. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Gaurav, you can go on, please.
And if I have published a paper in a ONOS platform, then
No,
does
you
it
do
is
not.
accepted? Does it
No,
is
it is not.
accepted?
ONOS is not a platform for publication. It is a platform for accessing the sources.
Okay.
It is not a journal. Like, it is not a journal or it is not a publication house, but it is a platform through which we can access the journals published by other publishers, right?
Okay.
Because earlier what happens was all these journal articles, you have to have a subscription or you have to pay a very large fees for it unless and until you cannot access them. You cannot download the full paper. You will be getting only the abstract. unless
Yes,
and
yes.
until you subscribe. But now through ONOS, if your institutional library is connected through InflipNet, through the UGC, that portal, then you will be having access to the journals, full paper journals, full
Okay,
text
okay.
journals. Yeah. So it is not a platform for publication. It is a it is a portal for accessing the journals.
Okay, 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 ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, anyone else? If there are no further questions, then we can conclude.
Yes, sir.
I think we should conclude, if you could permit.
Yes, yes.
So,
So,
yeah, ma'am, please.
no. Yeah, you can conclude. I had said whatever I wanted to convey.
So, on behalf of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, and SND College of Engineering and Technology and Research Center, Yeola, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor P.T. Suresh, ma'am, for such a wonderful session. Ma'am, you have broadened our understanding towards the adoption of this national education policy with respect to the interdisciplinary research and whatever may be the scenario that will be happen in our country, and not only in our country but the global in this research and development domain. We are really thankful to you, ma'am, and your inputs that you have provided during your session. That will be really valuable and very important for us, and definitely we will try to inculcate in our upcoming research. With this, I once again extend my sincere thanks for your precious time and thought-provoking session here. And with the kind consent of Professor Suresh, ma'am, I would like to declare that today's session will be over here. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you and all the best. Yeah, thank you and all the best.